You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web and your number one source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Gene. Johnson.
From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AfterBuzz TV's Hell's Kitchen After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's Hell's Kitchen After Show.
Turn it up, Steve. Turn it up. Come on now. The finals are here. Who's staying? Who's going? Season 12. 4 chefs left. What an incredible episode. Let's go through it together. You and me. We're all Hell's Kitchen fans. My name's Leo Quinones, and I love it when Gordon gets his blood boiling. And I love to see the look in chefs' faces when they just get dressed down by this cooking demigod. So that's what we love. What are the headlines? Well, the final 4 get visited from their beloved families. Very sweet, very emotional. The final 4 each get their time at the hot plate running Hell's Kitchen. Who did good? Who did bad? Of course, we will break it all down for you. And there's no other way to say this. I cannot gingerly put it. The guys dominated. I'm sorry. Our guests, our friends at the #1 Hell's Kitchen After Show, Rochelle, Melanie, both sat right across from me. They are both gone. Done. They are not in the final. And that means Scott and Jason, both from Chicago, are going to be in the Hell's Kitchen final next week. It's going to be one hell of a show. And you got to be right here because we're the show that's going to bring you all the chefs, all the insight, all the exclusivity. That's exactly what we do. And let's get into tonight's episode right now. So there's 4 chefs left. And by the way, thank you for watching our last week's episode and every previous episode before that. Joy Thomas was on last week. You know, she stormed out of Hell's Kitchen, and the YouTube views are incredible. And also the iTunes downloads are really fantastic. We can't thank you enough because somehow you know that your friend is a Hell's Kitchen fan and you're like sending the link to them either on iTunes or on YouTube, and it's really great, and we're just humbled to be here. So this is it. Very, very, very hot. All right. Before we get to what's going on, one last Gordon Ramsay challenge. And you know that Gordon Ramsay says every challenge that takes place in Hell's Kitchen, every single one is designed to drive a purpose, to find a skill level, to find a weakness, to see where these competitors are at, okay? So let's get into this. This challenge, Gordon says, separates the cooks from the chefs. The Taste It, Now Make It challenge. You have 40 minutes to make the dish that Gordon served to everyone in the family. I know from watching previous seasons of Hell's Kitchen that was going to happen. I'm shocked that not every single contestant didn't focus on that and go, okay, what's in this? Let me taste it. They just were all kind of like distracted by their families. So pretty amazing. So to help us go over tonight's episode, let's go back to Hell's Kitchen season 11. A fiery cook, a great personality, a competitor, and she's on the show right now. Please welcome from Hell's Kitchen, Season 11, the lovely, talented, and very tasty dish making, Nedra Harris. Nedra, thank you so much for being on the Hell's Kitchen After Show.
Hey, what's up? What's up? Thanks for having me.
Are you enjoying Season 12?
Not as much as my season. I'm just going to put it out there. No tea, no shade. My season was kind of hilarious. This season, I only got a couple of giggles, so
yeah.
But they're doing great.
All right. Well, you saw the episode with me. Now, Nedra, you had to watch it at home this season like a fan, but you've been there. So What about these challenges? Do they make you nervous? Do they rattle your brains a bit that Gordon springs on you?
Oh my gosh, do they rattle? They send your stomachs through different flips, and it feels like you're on a roller coaster. It's crazy. A lot of people wouldn't know, but right before we go to a challenge, we don't know if we're getting up in the morning to do a challenge or to do dinner service. So when you're waiting and waiting for hours before you can come down into the kitchen, you're trying to think, well, what's going on? What do we have? And it's just crazy.
Do you remember your Taste It, Now Make It challenge last year? What was yours?
I don't think we did a Taste It, Make It challenge last year. I think we did, guess what protein was in the dish, and that was the hardest thing ever to do.
How'd you do on that one?
It took me about 12 tries. I was with Jessica from our season 11, and me and her could not get it. But being the team that we was, undefeated red team, of course we won still, but it was really hard.
All right, let's get into the challenge. This was basically Gordon's dish. When the families were meeting in tonight's episode, Nedra, did you take a look at that dish and kind of give it a double take? Like, doesn't look all that amazing. Did you have that kind of look?
Well, from the TV screen, it looked like it was, I couldn't tell what it was. It just looked like it was something. What it was, I didn't know, so I had to rewind it 3 or 4 times just to see what it was. Yeah,
me too. I'm like, it looked like a cannoli or something. I thought it was some kind of a dessert. I didn't know it was fish, wrapped in prosciutto. So the challenge was, of course, taste it, now make it. So here's how it went down. You had Scott, Melanie, Rochelle, Jason. Scott went for the more elegant fish, the escalar, while Rochelle, Jason, and Melanie each grabbed the sole. And during the challenge, I thought Scott had it right and everyone else had it wrong. Do you think the editing made it look that way, Nedra?
Oh, that's really, really tough. But I would say that, I would have went with the same choice he chose just because I would have wanted to be brave and step outside the box and not use the same protein. So I think he was trying a different strategy.
Right on. So again, Scott supported his dish with butternut squash with the watercress puree. And then Rochelle, she had butternut squash with the parsley puree. Melanie went with the pumpkin with dill, and then the arugula puree with walnuts, and then Jason had butternut squash with watercress puree, which ended up being the winning dish. All right, so Jason gets to go with Chef Andy all over Los Angeles, tasting great food. Nedra, in season 11, what was your favorite reward on Hell's Kitchen?
Oh my gosh, we won so many. I don't have a favorite, but I would have to say just being in the presence of Chef Gordon Ramsay the first time we were on the yacht and we had massages. I mean, it was an experience that I wouldn't forget. But I think my all-time favorite is, and if I ever get married, my husband is he can't live up to Chef Ramsay. So I'm trying to find a guy who can do what Chef Ramsay do. G5, champagne, yachts, Caesar's Palace with sushi females. I mean, we had it all. I think I really don't have a favorite. That's hard to say.
Well, we have a Chef Ramsay of our own who might be interested in taking you out. He's always lurking nearby. So, Nedra, I don't know if Gordon is feeling it tonight. He may call out to you during this show. It has happened before. I'm just letting you know that.
Ooh,
so just
all right.
Okay, I want you to be a little in the dark. Anything can happen on the Hell's Kitchen after show. So, all right. So let's get into what Gordon Ramsay was saying about getting to take your turn at the pass. What do we mean by that? What does he mean? Well, taking a turn at the pass means in Hell's Kitchen, Gordon is like I would say like Jack Dawson in front of Titanic, but not a sinking ship, where he's in front and he's calling the team out and he's running the whole show. So Rochelle, Melanie, Scott, and Jason each had a shot at running the pass. So again, let's get into it right now. Let's talk about the Hell's Kitchen dinner service. Jean-Philippe, let's open up Hell's Kitchen. Aha! Nedra, what's it like when Gordon Ramsay calls out those dinner tickets so fast?
Oh, my gosh. It is, your head's about to spin. He's calling so fast, I don't think he can keep up. That's how fast he's calling them. And you got to be kind of quick on your feet. And sometimes, you know, he has that nice little accent. Sometimes you kind of don't hear what he says, but you better not say that out because you know what he's going to do. He's going to kick you right out of that kitchen.
Right on, right on. Well, you know what I've been doing?
4 risottos, 5 beef Wellingtons, 6 fried chicken, and a eggs Benedict. You got that right?
I told you.
No, but seriously, you got that order? You're good? No?
Can you read it back to me, Chef? I'm sorry.
No.
All I heard was eggs Benedict.
I can't imagine the lightning quickness of Gordon Ramsay. Okay, so let's get into it right now. The first one that goes up to dinner service to do her best is Rochelle. And the thing I love about Rochelle, and she's been here in studio, Nedra, is she said it, and you heard it when they did our little compilation after she was asked to leave Hell's Kitchen. When she gets nervous, when she gets stressed, if she's afraid, her natural instinct is to go straight to giggling. You know, it's the craziest thing. So, you know, Gordon pulls her aside and says, hey, your brigade is not going to work for you unless you are working them and you can't giggle. Seriously, stop giggling. You know when someone tells you to stop giggling, isn't it harder to stop giggling, Nedra?
I mean, when Chef Ramsay tell you to stop giggling, something in the back of your head say, okay, it should say, okay, let me get myself together because he's serious.
Mm-hmm.
He has that face that shows you like, hey, get it together. And if you're still giggling, I mean, hey.
Right. So when Rochelle was up there, and she needed to kind of reboot herself and give herself a kick in the butt and start it over again. She did. Sous Chef James drops an order on her of lobster risotto. But wait a minute. It was a sabotage. It was not actually lobster risotto. It was actually shrimp instead of lobster, and no one's telling Rochelle this. It's up to her. She's the last line of defense when it comes to quality service of the food, and she spotted it right off, and Gordon said, hey, you know, well spotted. So, you know, that to me showed that Rochelle can, in the heat of battle of Hell's Kitchen, still be there for quality control. Pretty important, right?
Oh my gosh, that's really huge. You have to make sure you're on it. And of course, if I order lobster, I want to get lobster. I don't want to get shrimp. So, I mean, that was a really good catch that she caught, but I just think that those giggles kind of threw her off track.
Yeah, well, you know what? I think she kind of came strong. She rebounded. She adapted to what Gordon's notes were and say, hey, look, you got to do this. And she did it. So she finished strong. It's better than, being weak the whole way through. So let's move on to the second finalist that was asked to perform at the hot plate. That was Melanie. And I think Melanie did herself in the competition in this very moment, because when she was up there reading tickets, she was like, hello? Hey.
Hello.
Hey, guys. Hey. Well, and then she got flustered because no one was answering. Instead of putting her hand down, boom, everyone, stop. All of you, I am going to call this order out, and I want to hear everyone respond. That would have been Melanie kind of taking it and making it her own. And she just said, you know what she did? She just turned around and said, F you guys. And she just kind of, as soon as she turned around, said, F you guys, that to me is the moment that she lost Hell's Kitchen. Did you feel that way when you were watching it? Nedra? Did I lose you?
I feel like yes, because you have to gain respect from your team. And if you don't have respect for your team, it's really hard for you to run a brigade of 30, 50 other people. So I think that she shouldn't have done that, and
Right.
she should have came a little stronger.
You know what? But she did come back for the second half of her hot plate turn, and she did a better job, so to Melanie's credit. So there's Melanie's kind of prism in the hot plate scenario. Now, the next one, Scott. Of the four, I think he absolutely came into his own. He owned it. He read those tickets with authority. He didn't mumble, and he knew exactly what he wanted. He sounded like a head chef to me, an executive chef. And, you know, his critiques, you know, sous chef James was ready to sabotage with chicken, but he snuck in a duck in there. No way. Scott took a look. He said, hey, this chicken is pink. This duck is not, I don't need duck. And he sent it back. That was the first Q&A callback. But he also said, hey, there's too much garlic here. Gordon agreed. Right. Fire it back. Good call. And he said, I want more salt. Take this risotto back. And he also said, this lobster is like mush. I want you to refire it right now. Melanie, of course, in the confessional says, well, you know, he was getting too picky. I don't think you can get picky enough in Hell's Kitchens. What can you tell me, Nedra, about the standards of Gordon Ramsay?
Oh, my gosh. I mean, and I got chewed out for it. It's just, he want you to taste every single thing that come out, even if it's the water for the pasta. He tastes the water for the pasta and makes sure you salted the water. That's how critical he is, and that's how he likes it.
Wow.
Likes everything done.
That's incredible. I didn't know he did that. Okay, testing. I never heard of anyone tasting pasta water, but that's Gordon for you. Okay, and finally, the evil pork master, Jason, the screamer, the rumbler, the grizzly bear of this grizzly competition. He threw off this weird vibe at the hot plate. It was his moment up there. It was he running the kitchen, and he threw out the weirdest quote of season 12 of Hell's Kitchen. I will see if here it is. This is a compliment on their food. I want to make out with all of the back of your hands. I don't know, Jason. I don't know if that was something good to throw. I mean, okay. If you're in kitchen and you heard, okay, and Jason said this to you when you were on the line, Nedra. I want to make out with all the back of your hands. No, right?
Oh my gosh, no, that's not gonna work. Negative, Jason.
Right. It's just too weird. After then Gordon pulled him aside. He said, "Look, you're running the hot plate. You're being too chummy. These are not your mates. You're not going to the pub. You're going to have to run them like a business." So what happened is Jason, he did come back, and then sous chef James really tried to slip one by him. Instead of serving, the crusted halibut, James tried to sneak in the crusted salmon, and Jason spotted it right away, and that's what really, saved his ass there. You have to spot the bad dish going out in Hell's Kitchen. So again, it was a pretty good service. Everybody, I thought, had a good service, and then Gordon, said, go deliberate, and then you have to find out which of your competitors has to leave Hell's Kitchen. I thought it was really interesting the way they deliberated. What's it like in the dorms, Nedra?
Oh my gosh, it is crazy because when you first get there, you tell yourself, you know what, I'm not going to make any friends. I'm going to keep to myself so I can win this competition. Everyone thinks like that, but once you start working with these people and you see them every day, you become cool, and it's just so hard for you to put someone up. So it's really a lot of tension. You're afraid that you're going to, betray your friend. And I mean, it's really down to the wire, nitty gritty type deal.
Wow. Okay. Well, when you were sequestered away and you didn't get to make phone calls or go on the internet or send emails or send or receive mails, do you think that was the easy part of Hell's Kitchen or the hardest part of Hell's Kitchen?
I would have to say that would be the hardest part because you have no communication to the outside world. You don't know. Actually, people really don't know this. We have no clocks in Hell's Kitchen, so we don't know what time we wake up and what time we go to sleep. It's like the army there, but it's it gets you to, to the point where it's a mental game. The whole competition is a mental game. So if you're not ready for it, what did Ramsay say? Get out of the kitchen. Get out of the kitchen, dude.
That's true. That's true. Okay, so everyone is kind of deliberating now at this point, and they're saying, who should go and who should stay. So it's funny how the girls are saying that Scott should go and Jason should go, and then when the guys have a moment alone, they're like, well, I think Melanie should go, and I think Rochelle should go. So they were, they kind of went up there, and then, we get to that, what I like to call, where they walk past the steaming pasta and they have to go in front of Gordon under the spotlight. I call that the meat hook elimination ceremony. How nerve-wracking are those, Nedra?
Oh my gosh, they're crazy. It's like Shady McGrady. You don't know what to think. You're nervous. I think my feet always numb up, and I'm nervous because yes, you deliberate, but you don't know if someone's going to pull a wild card and decide to do a switcheroo right there.
Did you say your feet get numb?
Yeah, my feet get numb. My hands are like I can't hold a piece of paper. It's just crazy.
All right, so here we go. Gordon says to Melanie, who do you think should leave? She said, Chef, I think Scott should go home because in the first half of the competition, he wasn't there. He didn't do anything. He was non-vocal. He did not communicate. And now, he's doing better, but, I think it's a little too late. Do you agree with Melanie's assessment or do you disagree?
I disagree because, like Chef Ramsay said, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And I think that, no shade, no tea to Melanie, but I just think that she started off really strong and then she started slipping. So you can't knock someone if you're not doing 100%. You can't mention on anyone else,
Yep. Okay, Rochelle, who do you think should be leaving Hell's Kitchen right now? And she said Jason. She says, and she was very sweet about it. She goes, I believe he's just, hesitant as a leader. I don't know if he's a guy who can lead a brigade. And I agree somewhat to that. I see Jason as an excellent cook, and he knows how to cook, but, to lead 60 or 70 people, well, we're going to have to wait for next week to see what happens there. So do you agree with Rochelle or do you disagree with Rochelle?
I kind of disagree with Rochelle. I kind of agree with Rochelle, I'm sorry, because he's just like a firecracker waiting to explode. He's like the grand finale of a firecracker. So you don't know what you're going to get in that grand finale, and that's him to me because I love him. He's a great cook, but he's like a ticking time bomb. He's ready to poop, poop, poop.
I mean, seriously, the way he yells into your soul is really kind of jarring. He's been on the show twice, and I've grown to like Jason, very much. What you see is what you get. Now, Scott. Gordon Ramsay says to Scott, who do you think should be leaving Hell's Kitchen right now? And he said Melanie. The reason why, Chef, I believe she has hiccups. She has hiccups in her service. She makes mistakes, and she's inconsistent. And I believe that is a cause for concern. Do you agree? Do you disagree?
I kind of agree with what they're saying because it shows through the last episode. It's not consistent across the board,
Yeah, but I believe too, Melanie, in her defense, when she was filming Hell's Kitchen, now remember, very well, Nedra, that they film it a year and a half before it even hits the TV, and you got to keep that secret for a long time. Melanie was just 23 years old when she was doing it. How old were you when you were in Hell's Kitchen?
I was 24.
See,
I was 24 when I started. I was the youngest.
Yeah, and that's tough, right? Because Gordon demands maturity, and it's really kind of. I mean, how did you feel as a 24-year-old? Did you feel like you were mature enough to run a brigade?
Well, fortunately, that's what I do. I was the sous chef when I was on the show, so yes, I was comfortable with running a brigade. But as far as his standards, you kind of don't know until he lets you know you have to get it together to be able to run the brigade. but being so young, and a restaurant put an extra 10 years on you. So if you're 20 in the restaurant business, you're really 30. It ages you.
All right. Gordon Ramsay to Jason. Jason, who do you think should be leaving Hell's Kitchen? He said, Chef, I believe it's Rochelle, because Rochelle gets nervous, and when she gets nervous, she gets frantic, and she has that kind of frantic energy in the kitchen, and there's no place for that, and that's why I think she should go. So Gordon takes all, I don't even know if he even takes their take on it into consideration. I believe his mind is already made up. So when it comes to the first one leaving, he goes straight for Rochelle, and I don't know. I just saw her continuing to blossom, and I just think he kind of cut her short right there. Did you think Rochelle was going to be the first one cut?
No, I thought Rochelle was more like Mary from last season, where she started. I thought she was Mary, like from Mary from season 11, and how she came in and you thought she was going to be all over the place, and she started to grow. Maybe, but like you said, I think he already has his mind made up.
Did you see her cut?
He knows who the winner is already.
Did you see Rochelle cut her thumb off last week?
Oh my gosh! I could have jumped through the screen and sauteed that whole thing. It looked like a piece of bacon up there.
Oh, God.
We could have had us a BLT that day. All we need is lettuce, Rochelle fingertip, and bread. We would have been good to go.
Our specials today are thumb of Rochelle over a nice bed of greens, I'm sure. So, all right.
Well,
So
I'm surprised she didn't cry.
Yeah, you know what? But you know what? You got to say to Rochelle, she went out as classy as she played the game. You know, Gordon, when you can tell when he likes someone. Do you remember what Gordon said to you when you were done, when you had to turn in your jacket in?
Yeah, he told me that I was a really good person, a great personality, and I will go far. But this competition, I wasn't ready for yet. So,
but it's sweet, though.
He didn't say anything bad.
Yeah, you know what? If you leave Hell's Kitchen with your head high and you have Gordon Ramsay saying that you're going to do good in the industry, I think you will. Rochelle is a local girl here in Riverside in Southern California. It's about an hour outside of Los Angeles, and we're going to be seeing from her. Maybe we'll have her on the show next week. Okay, so then all of a sudden, for dramatic purposes, the first big, the side comes down in typical Hell's Kitchen's fashion. The first one in the Hell's Kitchen final, boom, was Scott. Okay, so that leaves two people left. Is it going to be Melanie? Is it going to be Jason? What were you thinking right there, Nedra, right at that point? Who did you think was going to make it?
I didn't think Scott was sure going to go up there because I just didn't think. I thought maybe it would have been Melanie, but Melanie, I was kind of nervous for him. I really was.
So
I was shaking for him.
Out of Jason, who's still standing there, and Melanie, who's still standing there because Jason's already in. One more in the final. Who did you think was going to make it in?
I would have to say Melanie.
Yeah. Okay. Melanie to me seems like somebody that Chef Ramsay likes to mold. He likes to see potential, and then he likes to see it mature. He nurtures it. So I thought he saw something in Melanie that, she could be really, really fantastic. And then, boom, took the rug out from under her, and Melanie was gone, which, of course, leads Jason and Scott into the finale. And wow, what a finale it's going to be. I don't remember. Were you asked to come back to cook in the finale in season 11, Nedra?
Absolutely. Whoop, whoop.
And which team were you cooking for?
I was cooking for Mary's team, and Mary was on the red team.
Oh, man. So you leave Hell's Kitchen. Do you go back to your regular life, and then you get a call saying, oh, we need you back? Is that how it works?
That's a tough question to answer.
Oh, you're not allowed to answer.
I'm going to be like Jeopardy. Next question.
All right. Fair enough. They probably keep you in the dorms or somewhere, and then, because you can't go out and tell everybody what's going on. I get it. Okay, so did you slow up next week's previews of Hell's Kitchen, the final? I did. I
had to rewatch it again.
Here's some faces that I saw. Now, are they stock footage faces from contestants that are not going to be in the episode, or I think they are going to be in the episode? They were so quick. I watched it about 6 times over and over and over again. So here's who I think is going to come back and help cook in the finale. I see Keisha from Mississippi. She's coming back. All right. Chef Jersey Jess, whose motto is "put it in your mouth." The one who cried and cried and cried, "Please, chef, don't. I want to go. I don't want to give you my jacket. I just want to stay. I want to stay, chef. I want to stay." Go. Ralph, the little pit bull, is coming back. Sandra, that delicate flower from New York, is coming back. Chef Anton Testino's coming back, man. He's going to be cooking up. And from Whittier, California, she cooked Steven and I pork carnitas. Chef Bev Lazo looks like she's going to be back in the finale. So let's get down to it. Let's do some predictions. Let's see who's going to win Hell's Kitchen 250.
Now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
$250,000 on the line and a gig with Chef Gordon Ramsay. All right, we are down to 2. From Woodstock, Illinois, 36-year-old executive chef Scott Cummings, and we have from Chicago as well, a 31-year-old Jason Zapaltis. Jason or Scott? Nedra, you've been there. You've been in the final. You have perfect insight here. Who, in your educated guess, is going to win season 12 of Hell's Kitchen, Jason or Scott?
You know what? I'm going to be honest. I think Scott's going to take it home just because he's nice looking. Thank you. He's real nice looking. I'm just going off of looks, okay? If you look high, you're going to get it. You got to dress for the job you want. He looks like he wants the job. He's very hot.
But isn't there a nice layer of family and his kids? Wasn't that pretty nice too, though?
Yeah, you know, you saw the side of him that everybody wanted to see. I think he needed that. I think he needed to see his kids. I think he needed to see his wife. I mean, he didn't even let his little girl go. So that probably gave him a boost of energy that's going to just take him to the next level, I think.
What does Jason need that he does not possess at this time?
All that hollering he doing, he is not in the zoo. He is not in the cage. He need to stop all that hollering. That's what he needs to do. And then maybe we got something cooking.
Okay. I guess it comes down to me and who I think is going to win $250,000. This is like Oscar Sunday for me. I always, anyways, I'll do my best. So Scott Cummings or Jason Zapaltis. I think Jason is an excellent chef. He's a cook. He can stand there on the line. And if you noticed through season 12, from 20 chefs competing all the way down to 2, you don't really hear much from him in dinner service. And is it true, Nedra, in Hell's Kitchen, no news is good news? Does that make sense? Nedra, are you there? Oh, I know we're having some kind of a little delay. All right, hopefully talk when you hear me, all right? I don't know. We're live, folks. Okay, so let's get down to it. I think Jason is a great cook, but I don't know. I don't see him leading 70, 80 people in a brigade, communicating and getting everything he does. What I see with Scott, who was on this show, Scott not only is a family man, he's rooted. You notice, I believe he's the only one who's like a non-smoker. I think that's a check against. I think Nedra is trying to call us back, Stephen.
I'm not getting one.
We're not getting one? All right. So I just got that. All right. Scott knows what he's doing. He speaks about sustainability. That is the future of cooking, I believe. And he's 36 years old. He's got, 25 years. I think Gordon is going to mold him. And I didn't think in the beginning, in the first half of the season, wasn't really into Scott. I thought he was kind of wormy. I thought he is kind of like, was hands off, wouldn't take any of the blame, wouldn't engage in the cooking. I thought he was a little standoffish in the kitchen, but now, really coming back in the second half. And also, on a personal note, he is really amazing at not being a schmuck with your fellow competitors. If someone's down, he's the first one to go over there and console someone and talk to them and get them to do their best in the game. So that to me is a leadership quality as well. So I think, hey, don't start that music yet. I'm not ready yet. The music is getting ready to start, which means I need to thank you for being here. And tonight is a really big night here for AfterBuzz. AfterBuzz TV is the brainchild of Maria Menounos and Kevin Undergaro. Now, what we have here are 3 beautiful studios. We have 60 after shows that are in 100 countries, and it's all because of Maria Menounos and Kevin Undergaro. But why it's such a big night this evening is Maria Menounos, her brand new show Untold with Maria Menounos, started tonight on E! So this is a show that is right on the forefront of entertainment. So it's playing on E! You have to check local listings, but it's usually Thursday nights. Make sure you check it out. Untold with Maria Menounos. Thank you for the downloads on iTunes. We appreciate that. If you would be so kind, if you want to throw in a review, we would love that as well. And thank you for all the great comments on YouTube. And we're going to be back here next week. I want you to make your plans to be here because Jason and Scott are going head to head, and we're going to have this amazing battle. And I will guarantee you this. I don't know who, but here, and here are going to be guests that know more about Hell's Kitchen Season 12 than anybody. That's why we're the #1 Hell's Kitchen after show. If you want to get a hold of me, here's my Twitter handle. It's 2 words. It's @movieinterview. My website, movieinterview.com. Steven, thank you. He's awesome on the MasterChef show. I'm telling you, that is a great after show. Watch it. I'll see you next week. I'm Leo Quinones. I'm glad you're a Hell's Kitchen fan. See you next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV Network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.